and only mode.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Damon Southward, Chief Market Strategist at Briefing.com, and I also post under the Scalp and Yield tickers. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. What I want to do is take you through using the service, how to maximize your Briefing Trader trial, and one of the most important things is getting your platform set up correctly. So we're going to start off here looking at the in-play screen. I recommend using dual in-play, and I'll show you how to get here. Go to the live market coverage area and then click dual in-play. You'll see there's a difference here between dual in-play and live in-play. Live in-play will give you one single screen. The advantage of dual in-play is that you can set up filters. So on one side, what I typically do is I'll have trading calls, technical analysis, and rumors selected, because these are the things I trade. You know, when I want to know anything that's important that's coming out, I want that to come across on the left side of the screen. So I can basically filter the page by the types of information that I need to help me trade. On the right side, I have everything clicked, so all comments. So news, broker research, earnings, everything is flowing through the right side of the page. So you can see here, one of the important events of the after hours is the Coinstar earnings move. We have some trader commentary. And if you go through here, you'll see these yellow comments throughout the day that provide trading ideas and analysis and information flow, everything on the left side that I'm interested in. Now, I know a lot of you have issues with screen real estate, so that we have to give you the ability to open up a flyout window. You see here, if you click again on the little arrow here at the corner of the screen, you can open a flyout window and shrink the size of this, fit your screen. And I know a lot of people like to have quotes running in one area and different news items, different news services or whatever running over their layout. So here you can see that you have the ability within the settings area to also change the amount of content that flows through that flyout. So if I go to the headline only view, it's only showing me the first sentence of each item, and then by hovering over this reading icon, it'll give me the details. So you can see a lot more information can fit on your screen that way. Now if I go with the summary view, it's going to give me the headline and the first sentence. So you get a little bit more information there, so you can get a sense of a little bit better sense of what we're talking about, and then you can decide whether you want to hover over that item. And so you can create multiple windows like this. So if you want to have 2 or 3 of these going, you can, and have them filtered by different types of content, such as trading calls or rumors or earnings or any other type of information. Okay, so I'm going to stop here just for a second, and I want to give you a few trading tips, and I don't want this to be too boring for you. So number one trading tip of the day, and this actually came up today. I was talking to a customer about this very issue. It indicated to me that he had made $5,000 over the past couple weeks, and yesterday he gave most of it back with his own trades, with his own ideas. And the item here is avoid overtrading. I mean, this is the downfall of pretty much every trader who blows himself up. I mean, it's the equivalent to me of smoking cigarettes. Do not want to overtrade, especially in this environment. You know, one of the tips to avoid that overtrading is, you know, I've adopted this myself in many cases, is to stop trading by noon, avoid the midday trading just malaise that occurs pretty much every day around lunchtime, and come back after lunch. Maybe come back 90 minutes to 60 minutes before the close, because you get a little more volume and liquidity during that period. But overtrading is just something that, in terms of my contacts that I've spoken to, guys who've been trading for years and years and years, a lot of people had a lot of early success day trading and making money in the markets. Most of the ones that I see fail now are guys who can't help themselves. They sit there and trade all day. They have to trade. They don't have the discipline to step back, find 1, 2, 3 good trades a day, and step back. It's like even after they make money, they have to keep trading, and they will often give back all of their gains for the day and actually go into the red. So that's a major item. When I have these types of issues or things I want to remember, I actually write a post-it and stick it to my screen just to remind me every day, because that little post-it will save you a lot of money, believe me. So make sure you remember the avoid overtrading rule. The next trading tip is to be well-rounded. When I started doing this, people traded news and technical breakouts and momentum. That's not going to get it done these days. I mean, you can still make money doing that, but there are a lot of other areas that can also help make you money. For example, one of the areas I focus on is income. With trading, with the ability to get leverage from your day trading firm, a lot of times you actually have more cash than you really need. And so what do you do with that cash? You leave it in your money market account and pick up 0.1% or 0.2% if you're lucky, or do you actually have that work for you? If you look under the yield comment that I write, and I'll type it in here, Y-I-E-L-D, you'll see some of the ideas I have for essentially cash management. This is a trading strategy that focuses on income securities that also looks at a capital appreciation strategy. Some of these names, I was just writing a comment yesterday that a lot of people, when I start talking about this to traders, they start to fall asleep. But for the people who've been following me for the past 3 years, 4 years that I've been doing this yield strategy, these guys will tell you. I mean, it's really helped them out because it allows you to generate passive income, capital appreciation on your real assets. And when you need to put on a trade, you can use a little leverage intraday to put on your trades. But a lot of times you just don't really need as much capital to execute a trading plan as you have. So you need to have that money working for you. Yeah, sorry, I closed the wrong screen here. The next trading tip, choppy markets. Recognize when markets are choppy and be ready to reduce size and scale back your number of trades. We put out a comment this morning, both Chart and myself, noting the kind of the choppy nature of the action. And I indicated that I was going to step back a little bit, reduce my trades, because you have these periods of time. In the past month or so, we've gone pretty much straight up. And you have a period today where it felt like you started to see the signs of the beginning of a little bit of consolidation. So it's something you really want to pay attention to, those signs. As the market tries to digest gains, it might not move aggressively lower or aggressively higher for a period of time. It might just churn. And that churn can blow you up. Churning periods of time, that's a very difficult time for traders because you don't get the extensions and price action that you like to see. So just be very cognizant of periods of churn. We try to point that out to you and just get that on your radar. And actually, we had a feedback today coming in from a customer saying that was the best idea. One of the best ideas I saw today was just reminding me to watch out for that. We had some decent trades today. This guy thought it was the most compelling idea. Okay, so I'm going to look at the feedback here, and we'll take a couple questions. First question is, what is the name of the person who is talking? And I am Damon Southward, and I post under the Scalp ticker. Let's see, the next question is, how do you refresh your screen? Well, the screen refreshes automatically, so you shouldn't have to worry about anything. It'll update. So on this side, I think probably what the person is referring to is that on the left side here, there isn't a lot of information flowing through, whereas on the right side, you're getting updates every few minutes. Well, the left side, again, I have only certain types of comments selected: rumors, technical analysis, and trading calls. If nothing is posted in those categories, there won't be any updates on this side. So what we want to do is limit the amount of content flowing through this side so that we can really focus on what it is. If it pops up on that side, I pay attention to it. And I want to make sure that I have it differentiated between the left and the right so that I'm ready to respond and react. So next, I want to go into the tickers of some of the traders. As you see, we have custom tickers: Event Trader, Chart Trader, Blue Chip Trader. I'm ScalpTrader. If you ever want to see what someone is doing, you can plug in their ticker and do a search if you want to see exactly what they're doing that day. And so you'll see Chart has a number of comments over the course of the day. In terms of people who are new to the service, Chart is a very talented trader. I would definitely pay attention to the things he's talking about, the trades he's putting on. He trades on both an intraday basis and a swing basis. If we go back through here and look at some of his trades, he's just, he's really been on fire, and we see that feedback from customers. And okay. So other traders on the team, myself, I'll plug in my ticker here. Scalp. I trade on an intraday basis: information flow, news flow, technicals, rumors, anything that's going to create volatility in a stock, I'm on top of. I spend a lot of time researching stories. I have a lot of contacts. I tend to know just where information is coming from, how it's positioned, how it's going to create volatility in the stock, how people are positioned on each side of that event. So I try to share that information with you so that you can make money off of it. So some of the trades today that I did today included the Shutterfly long that had a nice run. I was talking about the GMCR short squeeze most of the day, but didn't actually get the position on. Had a DDD short, highlighted the Netflix breakdown. And, again, I also run a yield strategy, and I also pay attention very closely to the IPO page, which is the next big thing. So I'll move into swing trading ideas now, because I think that, the day trading stuff is pretty straightforward. Scalp, chart on an intraday basis are the primary individuals you want to pay attention to. On a swing basis, Blue X, commodities trader, setup X are very strong. So if you look at, we're going to the next big thing, which is our IPO page, and I'll give you an example of some of the ways you can benefit from this information. And here I'll look at one of the recent. So on basically a weekly basis, we preview the deals that are coming this week. So this Boise Cascade deal was one of the hot deals of the week. We rated it a B+. One of the things that I suggest to people is if they have a broker who has, that gives them access to these deals, you want to be looking at this page, because an IPO allocation is the freest money that you'll ever get on a quality deal. So like this BCC, I think it popped from where it priced to where it opened the first day. That's probably 7 points. So that's a free 7 points. So if you have an account at Merrill or at Goldman, or here are some of the other co-managers: Deutsche, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Davidson, Piper Jaffray. Pretty much everyone knew this was going to be a hot deal. This is one that, this comment came out on Friday. You want to start calling your brokers up and saying, hey, what kind of allocation can I get? Because there's nothing like free IPO money, I tell you. It's nothing like it. But if you look at BCCC here, and here's some of the other deals that we rated this week. This XONE was a very hot deal. It opened today, I think, up 8 or 9 points, something of that nature. And actually, one of our analysts, Setup X, has been very bullish on that, and several people got into the name based on his commentary and did very well today. So also on a swing trading basis, I would recommend the liquid momentum page. And so this page focuses on algorithm. It's an algorithm that places a heavy emphasis on superior relative strength versus the all stocks universe, high average true range, and high average daily volume. So essentially what it's giving you is the best momentum stocks to trade that have the nicest, widest daily ranges while also providing liquidity. Because you have a lot of stocks that have nice ranges, but the liquidity is just really poor. So like periodically Netflix, the liquidity will get actually pretty bad. You might see the spread open up to 75 cents. A Priceline, for example, the spread might open up to $1 on an intraday basis. Whereas Apple, the spread stays pretty tight. Some of these other names, obviously a Citigroup, the spread is going to be a penny most of the day. So what we're looking for are we're providing analysis, technical analysis on names that are showing really good liquidity, have really good nice ranges, and have some institutional support and momentum price action. So if you look at the table here, you see the ticker, say RHI, for example. Some of these names you would never expect to kind of fall onto the momentum list. So this list is driven by an algorithm that updates. I think we update it on a weekly basis. And so you'll see names come on here that you may not have ever heard of before, but that are showing that type of momentum and price action. So you'll see that the relative strength rank, this relative strength relative to the entire market, the growth rank relative to the entire market, average true range, which is the average daily range essentially. Here it's 1 to 2, 3 points in most cases. Looking at the float, float's always helpful. The smaller the float, the more likely something is to squeeze or to have an outsized price run. Short interest is always helpful. High short interest leads to big squeezes oftentimes. And here's the average volume. We also give you the report date. So next I'll go to TA page setups. So this provides a list of hand-picked technical setups and stocks that we think are ready to trigger within the next several sessions. And so you'll get the chart and you get some commentary on how we would play the setup and the type of action we want to see in order for a trade to trigger. Well, let's go down here and let you take a closer look. So with some of these reports, so that you don't have to come and check every day to see if they've been updated, I would recommend setting up page alerts so that you can have these reports emailed directly to you. And so in order to do that, you can go into the email preferences area, and that'll click here. And so you'll see pages here if you look under Briefing Trader. So the ones I would recommend would be liquid momentum, emerging growth stocks, ETF daily notes, the next big thing, stock ideas, strategy meeting key points, and TA page setups. The TA page scans are updated every day, so they're going to be there. It's pretty much updated probably within an hour of the close each day. So I wouldn't recommend getting that alert set up for that email alert unless you just want to have it emailed every day. But some of these reports are liquid momentum's updated 2 to 3 times a week, emerging growth 2 to 3 times a week, ETF daily notes is updated every day, going into the market open. So it might vary 20, 30 minutes. So if you want to know exactly when that report hits, because it will pertain to trading action that day, you might want to have that set up as an email. The next big thing is the IPO report. So it could be updated anywhere from once to 3 or 4 times per week. Strategy meeting key points is essentially our best ideas list, and that's updated once to twice per month. And we just looked at the TA page setups. All right, so I'm going to go back to the in-play page, the dual in-play. And we'll keep an eye here, and we'll answer some questions here. Okay, here's a good one. Thanks for the presentation. I have more of a favor to ask than a question. It's not always apparent when you're entering a trade versus just pointing out info. For example, Shutterfly. I missed out on it because I wasn't sure if you were implying that you should watch it or actually enter it. Well, let me take you back to the Shutterfly example. And this is a good question because it helps you understand my approach a lot better. And so you'll see here, now Shutterfly is a stock that we were trading it yesterday, largely playing for the squeeze, and took the other side in the afternoon. But this morning, highlighted the fact that it looked like, so here, this Shutterfly acts like it might try a quick flush here and attempt to shake out some of the longs from yesterday. So I wanted to get that on your radar just in case that occurred. But I came back a little bit later, about 30 minutes later, and said, hey, the stock's holding in right here. Market's getting hit very hard, and this one's holding up very well. I'm changing my bias to the long side here. I didn't actually put out a trade in it, but I wanted to make sure that people were actually starting to pay attention to it. So then I come back a little bit here, a little bit later, and say Shutterfly is starting to show some juice here. I think it's worth looking at a long, if not involved already. Now, on my first comment at 40.34, I know for sure that a lot of our customers actually got long. They understand my approach and how I present information, and that one of the things I do is provide the setups to them, provide the idea generation so that they can put on their own trades. And so for the average individual who has some experience as a trader, the level it's trading, kind of where the market is at that time, that 40.34, 40.35 area is a reasonable area to put on a long position. You're pretty close to the lows of the day. Stock's starting to edge up. Market's starting to recover a little bit. So you're putting on a long, risking 20, 30 cents to see if this plays out. But as it starts to edge up, I come back and say, hey, this is one you really want to take a look at. Now, if I'd said buy this right now, Shutterfly is a relatively thin stock. If I would have said buy it right now, this would have popped to 41 before any of you got filled. And people would have been upset because they would have been in a bad price position. But if I say, hey, really pay attention to this and look at it closely, look at my 1028 comment for color, then people are going to take a second, read it. They're not just going to hit buy. They're going to think about, okay, yeah, I do like that setup. They're going to look at their chart, and they're going to possibly get in. And the price action is going to be clean. It's not going to just pop to 41. People can enter at their own pace and not move the stock dramatically. Everyone will get a good fill. So one of the things I try to do, if I know the stock is relatively thin and is prone to potentially shake people out, I try to basically disguise how I'm presenting the idea, because if I just say buy, people will just hit the buy button, pop the stock, fills will be terrible, and just not necessarily a good situation for anyone. I am more likely to just say buy or sell a stock that has far more liquidity, that just doesn't run the risk of creating a bad execution situation. Okay, moving on to the next question. Okay, someone asked, what is the typical size, 100, 500, 1,000 shares, and which broker best for day trading? Well, in terms of brokers, I mean, I know that most of our guys use interactive brokers because of the execution, and the prices are pretty good. They allow you to use algorithms for execution, so you don't get stopped out as easily. They also have very good borrowing lists, so if you need to borrow stock to short, their access to those types of stocks that a lot of brokers will lock you out of. I mean, for example, Netflix. I bet most people out there can't short Netflix at the average broker. Interactive Brokers probably has 400,000 or 500,000 shares available to be shorted right now. So I know most of our guys use Interactive Brokers and have been pretty pleased with it. But there are obviously a lot of other trading platforms out there. There are, if you're trading size, then Interactive Brokers can add up. Some of the flat commission rate brokers that are charging $6.95 or $7.95, you're trading 5,000, 10,000 shares at a time, then Interactive Brokers could potentially add up. You might have to sacrifice on fills and execution. So just depending on kind of what your strategy is, if it's a swing trade and you're trading size, maybe you want to consider having multiple accounts and looking for the best overall price of execution based on the strategy that you're running and how much size you have. In terms of the average trading size, it depends from person to person. I know in terms of our customers, which is probably going to have more impact on you than our individual size, our customers trade from 100 shares to 5,000, 10,000 shares. So it really depends on the stock. Some of our customers are trading enormous size. They're trading $1 million, $2 million positions. Some of them are trading $5,000 positions. So we try to account for that and manage that and try to focus on liquid names that we think can accommodate a lot of size, a lot of trades. But again, like for myself, for example, because I deal sometimes in fast-moving, sometimes lower liquidity names, I just really have to accommodate for that by not necessarily always saying, buy it right here at this moment with a stop right here at this price, because it can just create havoc on the stock. So do you have help, or do you do all the picking and typing? I write my own comments. I work over IM, so I have a lot of contacts that I work with through IM who are sending me information. We're sharing ideas. We're talking about the market. But in terms of writing up the information, each analyst writes up all his own ideas. So is there an overview of each trader on the site for us to determine which one is a good fit for us? Yeah, so if you go on the email that you receive for the trial, it will have details of each trader's particular trading style. But also you can go into the search box here and type in style, S-T-Y-L-E. And it will give you an overview of each person's style. So this is index tracker, commodities trader, chart trader, scalp trader, event trader, so how do I know when to close a position? Am I advised with a pop-up? With position management, we will provide updates throughout the day. So we'll typically, what we'll do is we'll enter a position, have a risk level, say buying here with a risk of 50 cents or risk of $1 or risk right at this level. Let you know how much we're willing to risk and where our stop is, and then we will provide updates when we're as a position makes money, or if we get stopped out, we'll let you know we got stopped out. But if the position is moving in our favor, we will give you an update. Typically what we'll do is scale out because you just never, well, I find that sometimes the upside and sometimes, sometimes the opportunity in the stock is far greater than you appreciate it when you put on the position. So my personal approach is I try to make money, get 75 cents to $1 out of the first half, and then just start to trail my stops and just see what that other half will do. I might move the stop up from the original entry, but maybe that particular stock, maybe was very right that it's going to move in a certain direction and ends up moving another $1, another $2, another $3. Actually, some of the gains that occur beyond your initial expectations can far outweigh the initial money that you make on the trade. So what I try to do is just give the position room to work, not cut it back too quickly, make money off of the trade, get a part of the position off, and then let the rest ride by just trailing the stop up and giving it enough room to experience a minor pullback before it resumes its extension, but not so much that I'm going to give back the entirety of that remaining profit. Yes, looking for the next question here. Okay, this is a good question. Is there any chance you guys could develop longer-term fundamental short ideas? And actually, I was having a conversation today with Comdex Commodities Trader about that very thing. At this moment in time, we're a little concerned about the possibility of some type of consolidation and want to make sure that we have short opportunities out there in front of you. And so in particular, Commodities Trader, I asked him to start looking for the types of names that get hit hardest, fastest, during a market pullback, particularly in the commodity space. We all know the momentum names that get hit. And let me tell you a little trick of the trade and that I use. Whenever I have the sense that the market is starting to top out and we might be in for a reversal, I'll go to this liquid momentum page. I don't know if you ever heard of the term momentum up, momentum down, but it usually applies to just whenever you get a market correction. The names that have been like the momentum leadership will start to become the momentum leadership to the downside, because the momentum players will start to jump out of positions as technical levels get broken. So when the market's moving in the right direction, as you can see, these names can run really hard, really fast. But when the market loses its momentum, though these names might not consolidate a ton, maybe they'll only correct 15% and then resume a new uptrend. But that 15% might occur extremely quickly over, say, 3 days, 4 days. So with this liquid momentum list, one of the things I'll do is go and look to see what is the latest momentum name to kind of take off. So actually I did that today. And I went to look and I saw Cree was a name that's breaking out. It's had a nice little run. But after looking at the story and the general price action, my thought was, this name is actually under accumulation. And the market didn't feel like it was ready to just plunge today. So with some of these momentum names, you really have to, just really have to have a sense of kind of what the market's going to do. So with the Cree, it's looking at it thinking, okay, do I want to short this? Do I want to short this? And by the time I got to it, it turned out it probably had another 50 cents in it to the downside before it turned around and rallied. And I was actually thinking about getting long on the initial pullback just because I thought the market was going to bounce. And I knew that traders, short people trading the short side, be looking at names like Cree and trying to bang it lower. You might get an actual price squeeze in it. But to answer your question, one of the areas that I go to when looking for short ideas in those periods of times when I think the market is due to come in a little bit is this liquid momentum page. And what you'll often see if the market isn't going to go down, if it's just a pause and a head fake, these names will turn right back around and come charging back and actually do really well. So you really kind of have to have a sense of where you think the market's going. And I think we do a really good job of telling people where we think things are going. So right now, even though we're not necessarily completely bearish, we think there's going to be opportunity to make some money on the short side, and we want to be prepared for that. All right, so we're going to answer a couple more questions, and then we're going to wind things down here. So I want to ask, can you review how to limit the amount of content appearing for each entry? So again, that's going to the settings area. And then, for example, you can select headline. Okay. And so with this, obviously you can get a lot more onto the page. And if you want to see what the details are, you can hover over this reading pane and it'll pop up for you. Actually, if you click on it, it'll stay open. Then if you want to close it, you can just hit the X, and then you can also go to a summary view. It gives you a little bit more information. And for the full thing, you can hover over the reading pane. Okay, someone asks, how do I know when it's a swing trade or a day trade? Well, first of all, there are only certain, for example, Scalp. I very rarely do a day trade on, unless it's a yield or income idea or it's something you'll see a very long piece from me, and I'll tell you up front it's going to be a swing trade. Blue chip trader does a lot of swing trades. So going in, you'll know if he's looking at something, his general approach is, I'm going to put it on and I want to hold it as a swing trade unless the price action prevents me from doing so. So that when he puts on a stop, if it gets stopped out intraday, obviously the trade is done. But going into a trade, he's looking for opportunities where he can make some money intraday. He wants to be in an uptrend or a downtrend, depending on whether he's long or short, and carry that position over for a few days so that you can capture, the really large swings in price. Commodities trader is very similar. Chart trader, I'd say 5 to 10% of the time will put on a position with the plan of taking it as a swing trade. All right, so we're going to do one more question and then wind things down. Here's a good question. Do you scale in or go 100% into a position? So it depends on the conviction and the trading conditions and just the general volatility of a stock. If you're dealing with a stock that is, say, something that's really coming unglued because of some type of news event, for example, it's down 15% and it could really possibly get hit further, but you think it's due for a bounce. I mean, I've just found over the years that where you think it's due for a bounce, it's going to fall another point or so point and a half before it stabilizes. So what I'll often do if I'm dealing with a really volatile stock that's being driven by some type of news event is scale in with half and look to add another half around a point lower. And I find that typically that second half is the one that makes money for me. So it just allows you to stick with the stock a little bit longer, knowing, to know going in that you're dealing with a very volatile name. You're not going to pick the exact spot of the bottom. And so instead of getting stopped out for $1, you're actually putting on half the size and buying more once it falls $1. And a lot of times, that second position will really bounce back really quickly. So whereas the first part of the position, if stock bounces $1 from the low, you're just getting back to break even. On the second half, you've already made a point. So then it gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of deciding whether to hold on to the trade or take some profits and that type of thing. All right, well, I see a Roll Tide in there. Someone must know that I'm from Alabama. I appreciate it. All right, well, thanks for joining us this afternoon. If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to send us an email at briefingtrader@briefing.com. If you have any questions regarding the price of the service or any questions that that could be handled by a salesperson, you can contact sales@briefing.com. Okay, thank you.